Well, while you're at,
Granted, it's olive oil.
while you're in England, conquering them for their olive oil, can you take just a quick swing by Scotland and do something about Humza Yousef, who's defending his juryless rape trial scheme as the boycott grows?
What the absolute
rape
fuck?
trial scheme? Do I want to know the context here?
Yes. Humza Yousef is defending pedophiles.
What?
Well, yes, but that's not what this article's about. Humza Yousef is also defending pedophiles, but that's not this article.
I mean, honestly, how can this thing be considered anything other than basically a quisling?
It can't, because apparently they hate England so much that they want to get rid of everything, including common law traditions such as juries that have been around for 600 to 800 years.
You know, this guy only needs to do one thing, and he's quisling, and that is to try to take over the world, but with take over his country through a fucking radio.
Yeah, it's not just even a quisling; it's a queefling.
Yeah, Trim, he already did that. He's been on TV multiple times, and he's taken over his country.
Okay, so he is quisling. Wonderful. Shoot him.
Yes. So Trim wasn't here last.
In mine shaft.
In a mine shaft, yes.
In mine shaft.
In mine shaft.
Anyway, to explain this to Trim, firstly, Humza Yousef does defend pedophiles, but that's got nothing to do with this particular one. Humza Yousef and his collection of psychopath, actual fascists have decided they want to get rid of
whites.
Yes, they've decided that they want to get rid of juries when they're trying men for rape.
Why?
Because they're not convicting, and because they're not getting enough rape convictions. I wish you could see Trim's face right now.
I suspect it's very, 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 very colorful.
Yeah. It's monochromatic, probably. Red.
Yes.
Yeah, I was right.
I don't. I just whatever.
Those are dead eyes, like a doll's eyes.
He looks so beaten. Oh,
it's like he's already dead.
Oh God, this is.
He's already dead. Stop.
Oh. This is terrible.
Yeah, Medjur makes a good point. Yeah, who needs a jury at a rape trial?
Not Humza Yousef.
Oh my God!
Speaking of which,
him be the first one to be tried with his shit.
Yeah, speaking of which, Humza Yousef raped me.
I was just gonna say the same thing. He got me too.
He raped us all.
Yes.
Yeah. He raped us when he stood on stage and was racist.
Hang on.
Because he doesn't
to be
like
fair,
white people.
I was gonna say, to be fair, we can legitimately accuse Humza Yousef of inciting racial violence against white people.
Yes.
Because of how he talks about them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I mean, the guy makes a fucking Californian college student seem like he tolerates white people.
Well, at least at least California hasn't gotten rid of juries yet.
Yeah, he makes a Californian college student look like a white supremacist.
Yes.
Oof. He makes him look like a Larry Elder?
Yes.
Sorry, I want to say things, but I don't even know if Rumble can fucking handle the shit I want to say.
So,
dear God, this is the most stupid thing.
Yeah. So, huge sack of shit has defended plans to pilot juryless rape trials after lawyers in Aberdeen joined a boycott. They've accused the Scottish government of a deeply troubling attack on the judicial system. Yeah, no shit. Lawyers in Glasgow and Edinburgh have already said they will refuse to take part in the pilot, which is proposed as part of a new justice reform bill.
Yeah, right.
The government has said there is overwhelming evidence juries are affected by preconceptions about rape. Yes, so we'll get rid of the jury and replace them with a judge that will do exactly what we tell them.
Wouldn't the solution be to get a better jury, or inform them better, or search through who would.
Well, the
be
problem is,
given the
Trim,
duty.
juries do inconvenient things like believe that you can't retract consent 6 months later.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Yeah,
So
or
you can't
they'll,
prop up retarded charges and hope it goes through
Exactly.
because of people who listen.
juries might
Okay.
also believe that if both people are drunk, maybe it wasn't rape.
Yep.
Of course.
And,
Yeah,
and
because
I think it's really worth pointing out. You remember all these bench trials in the United States where some pedo would get like 5 years?
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going for. Because oh well, he was still convicted. Yeah, but he got 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Well, he was still
influenza kid.
convicted.
just on a side note, what kind of country is Humza Yousef originally from?
Shit, fuck a
Scotland.
Stan.
Uh-huh. I'm just
Actually,
gonna
I
leave.
was-
I'm just gonna
I'm-
leave it at that and let the accusation.
Hamza
hang
Yousef's
there.
from a country that goes the opposite direction on rape trials. They just don't have them because they don't believe that rape's a crime. Like Hamza Yousef.
I was going to ask, is Scotland not a country that has the good sense to say you have to be born there to run it?
No.
No.
Oh, idiots. I think Canada even
Scotland
does that.
is also a country that has juries of, what was it, 15 people and only requires a majority to convict?
Yep.
Oh yeah, simple majority, yeah. 8 out of
What?
15. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
8 out of
Yeah,
15
no,
to
Early is
convict in
definitely not
Scotland.
from Kekistan.
Jesus fucking Christ! Scotland can never be independent. The whole country will go Mad Max within.
Well,
a
that's the
fucking
thing.
week.
If Westminster doesn't come out and slap this down, what's the fucking point in them?
Yeah.
In fact, Scotland should be forcibly given its independence. Rebuild Hadrian's Wall.
Finish Hadrian's Wall.
Build a wall and make Scotland pay for it.
Put some turrets on the top,
Mm-hmm.
You know, let EU pay for it because we all know as soon as Scotland leaves the fucking UK, they'll run right to the fatherland of EU.
The Reichstag.
The
There we go.
motherland.
I mean, you mean like they did back in the 1930s and 40s, where they were convicted for possibly collaborating with a certain variation of Germany?
You mean
Yep.
the SNP that keeps having their leaders convicted of treason?
Yes.
I mean, it does sound like a
yeah.
German 3-word thing. Just saying.
Yep. It is rather
14 reasons why
remarkable.
Scotland is going to hell.
yeah. That and some of the accents.
Yep. So, the change to trials was proposed by Scotland's second most senior judge, Lady Dorian. Well, fuck off, you dumb cunt. In a review that informed the Victims, Witnesses and Justice Reform Scotland Bill, Justice Secretary Angela Constance has claimed that low conviction rates for rape and attempted rape are hampered by the prevalence of preconceptions. Yes, preconceptions such as innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
Hey guys, can I just make a stupid joke to avoid 42ing myself?
Not if you ask.
No, and stop talking
Okay.
about 42ing
Hey guys,
yourself on YouTube.
Meerkat Gate. What kind of thing happened there?
What?
Meerkat Gate.
What's a meerkat?
Look at the picture.
I have no idea what this
actually
idiot's
sign.
place in
on about.
Scotland.
I know, but what happened there? It's a gate. Ha ha ha.
Oh, yeah, that's
Hey.
what he's on about. Oh, vey.
Are you sure we can't server mute him?
I'll always
Tristan Armstrong over on Rumble says Canada does not require MPs to be natural born citizens. We even allow dual citizens to be MPs. And
Yeah.
there's nothing to stop a dual citizen from becoming prime minister. That's true.
Yes.
I mean, just look at
Michael
Trudeau.
Ignatieff back in the 90s.
Well,
was
that's
running for prime
apparently
minister.
there's also nothing about having a non-Scottish citizen who's the child of a communist dictator as the prime minister either.
Yeah, also true. You mean the bastard love child? I mean, what?
I don't think there was any love there in that inception.
Oh, no. There was a love of evil.
Mm.
So, yeah. Prevalence of
Victor remembers
preconceptions,
Michael Ignatieff.
such as innocent until proven guilty. In most recent figures, conviction rates for rape and attempted rape were 51% compared with 91% for all other crimes. 51% still quite high, actually. What's
Yeah.
also consider that in rape cases, you have to not just prove that intercourse occurred, you must also prove that it occurred without consent, which is where things get a bit tricky. Because in all other crimes, all you have to do is, in murder, all you have to do is prove that the knife penetrated the body. In rape, not only do you have to prove that the penis penetrated the body, you must then also prove that they didn't have permission. It's not like anything else where all you need is actual facts. Like, all rape predicates on the opinion of the victim. Not to mention,
It really pisses me off because it cheapens actual rape cases doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Scotland.
Yes, I was actually going to get to that point as well, Tristan. Tristan says that every crime not involving strict liability also requires the prosecution to prove intent, mens rea. Yes, which is why rape where both parties are drunk is some proper bullshit. Like, where's the fucking mens rea?
And Violence points out actual rape leaves bruises, and I think the other problem is you got to encourage women to go get a rape kit done.
Not all actual rape requires bruises. Rape can be accomplished with just the threat of violence.
Yeah. Or just general intimidation, where it's like, well, okay, it's easier for a woman to submit.
Intimidation, which is just the implied threat of violence.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I assume that there is probably more damage caused anytime it's non-consensual, because if the reasons that we won't go into.
Well, I think it should be, there's forcible rape and kind of rape through intimidation. That's.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Violence has definitely lived a life.
Yep. Yeah, there's that kind where it's actual violence, and then there's the threat of violence, like the Pakistani shithead that pulls a knife on a woman in London doesn't need to actually use the knife.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just one of those, taking away juries for this sort of thing, which is really the most devastating accusation to have to make or to be made upon. And it's like, yeah, this is the reason why the convictions are probably only at 51% is it can be a very gray area.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, like, anytime a woman turns around and goes, oh, I got drunk, I went to the club, and then the next day I woke up having had sex and I remember nothing. Does that actually mean you were raped? Or does that just mean you made a choice? You intentionally made a series of bad decisions?
Or it could have been something where things were escalating. She passed out, like, while they were getting ready. He, finished up, and then it was like, oh shit, she didn't remember anything because she was blackout drunk.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If they don't remember anything, how can they prove it was rape?
Yeah. Yeah. Or it could be like, well, gee, somebody saw them going at it.
Yeah.
And
okay, you've proved that sex happened. Now prove a negative. Now prove that consent didn't occur.
Yeah.
What happened to just adult people just being fucking adults and taking some responsibility?
Well, people like that don't vote Democrat.
Oh, no. Right. Sorry,
yeah.
I keep...
Or
SNP.
SNP. The Scottish Nazi Party.
Mm-hmm.
Democrat, SNP is...
The National Socialist Party of Canada. Ah, dear.
Yeah.
We call those anybody in Parliament these days.
I just call them mosquitoes.
Yeah. So,
blood-sucking fiends that you wish would die and they only come around once a year when you're outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
No,
this one.
they're always around. They're always trying to suck your blood, and they are always making a really annoying noise that drives you insane.
But enough about Democrats.
Yes.
So anyway, so after the Aberdeen Bar Association confirmed it was joining the boycott, Mr. Yousef said he heard their objections loud and clear and then proceeded to ignore them. But he said he remained absolutely committed to working with legal professionals on the pilot because convictions for rape are far too low compared to other offences. That's right. It's not about whether they're innocent or guilty, it's about whether they're convicted or not. Because God fucking forbid.
I'm sorry, yeah. Proving a burglary is far easier than proving rape.
Well, that's it. To prove a burglary, all you need to prove is that the defendant was there. Functionally.
Yeah.
Also, no juries. Judges aren't fact finders. Juries are fact finders. And rape trials are all predicated on the finding of one specific fact. Was or was there not consent? And it is the jury's duty to determine that whether that exists beyond a probable cause.
Mm-hmm. And I would also say, you know, how many cases will get determined based on social justice now in Scotland for rape than previously?
All of them. Just all of them. Every man in Scotland except Humza Yousef and the other unwanted immigrants.
Yep.
And
I
So the First Minister said, "We know through the weight of evidence show us that exists just how many rape myths, rape misconceptions, stereotypes exist. Would you like to display any of those for us to see? In fact, if you're so concerned about rape myths, rape misconceptions, and stereotypes, why don't you fucking educate people instead of removing fucking juries and the burden of proof and the concept of instant until proven guilty? Like, somebody find Blackstone and we'll fucking wrap him in copper and make another generator. We'll hook it to the same grid as frigging Orwell."
That following sentence, that's not in the interest of justice.
That's right. In the interest of justice, we will abolish juries. What? And when we're done with that, we'll abolish juries for other crimes like murder and treason and hate crimes.
Treason, huh? I wonder why they are obsessed with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is bad news all around.
Yeah. The SNP leader said more than 80% of trials already took place without a jury.
So that's why they have a 90%
all trials. 16% of criminal cases were heard by a jury, while 84% were less serious or summary cases. You slimy sack of crap. I mean...
So you could have a summary judgment on a criminal act, or it could be a very serious crime.
We're not talking about a $300 fine for sniffing farts without permission. We're talking about a crime for which life imprisonment is a possibility, and you want to do away with juries for that.
And again, the way they're framing this, it's like you could have someone who has a summary trial for murder because they just plead no contest, but it's a summary judgment, and they're putting that in the same category of like shoplifting.
All actual trials must be heard by a jury. In common law, I think it's if the prison sentence is over or fine is over something or other. But in the States, I'm pretty sure it's, fuck you, I want one, so give me one.
Basically, yeah. Now, you can also go for a bench trial, which that's fine, but typically the defendant is given the option. It's not just determined by some fuckwit government board.
In fact, for a lot of things, because I've been following some cases like assorted auditors in the States who keep getting railroaded with bullshit charges. And it's like, oh, we'll do a bench trial. No, just because you didn't offer me a jury doesn't mean I can't demand it. Fuck you.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the Constitution's so damned important is we avoid this bullshit that Scotland's pulling by saying, no, I want a jury trial.
Yeah, entitled.
This is for a traffic ticket.
Yeah, that's what entitled means. It doesn't mean must. It means they're entitled to it, which means upon request, it must be rendered by the state, a jury of their peers from their state and district. On today's episode of Dear Americans, please learn more about your fucking legal system than some random idiot from Australia.
Remember the election night stream that we did with it was Jack and I can't remember his wife's name. Where you just
yeah, those guys.
Yeah, where you just kept blowing them away. Where they're like, oh, "How do you know so much about American Constitution?" It's like, I wish most average Americans knew half of what you knew, Bez. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it was hilarious. They're like, hold on a second, didn't you say you were Australian?
Yeah.
That was a nice stream.
I'm jealous.
For the next one.
It must be nice to have human rights.
It's extremely nice. And I'll throw this in question to chat in general. When we have our presidential primaries here in the U.S., if it's more than just like a one-off, if anybody wants me to host a stream, I'm very happy to do so.
You should host many streams.
I'd love to be there.
So, yeah, because this is just so disturbing to see that the Scottish criminal courts, not civil courts, but criminal courts, want to do away with jury systems.
But wait, it gets worse.
Whatever. Hey!
There's also going to be public reviews of decisions made by trial judges participating in the juryless rape trials. That's right, it's not even going to be a judge. So the judge deciding whether you're innocent or guilty of rape is going to be publicly reviewed by the government that is upset that not enough people are getting convicted of rape.
Wow. Holy shit.
That is evil. That is evil.
Yes, it is.
Holy shit. We are back in 1940s here, but we're on the wrong side of the channel.
I'm reasonably sure that Germany had a better legal system in the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a stacked trial, but still, at least it was...
At least they had to bribe a jury.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
holy shit.
The lawyer said, never before have decisions at the Scottish Criminal Court's been subjected to this type of review by the executive. So it's clear it will be clear to any impartial observer this proposed plight amounts to a deeply troubling attack both on the criminal justice system but also on the independence of our judiciary. Yeah, that's right, because the judges are going to overconvict because they're scared that the government's going to go, what's that? You're not convicting every man that comes before you. Oh, you convicted that Pakistani. Out.
You're
racist.
Yep.
You should convict that guy who just had a bit too much to drink, but that guy who of a indiscriminate race.
So Mr.
ethnicity.
And I'm gonna have to read his name because it's fucking hilarious. Mr. Woodward Nutt argued juryless trials would lead to a loss of safeguards. The Scottish government are proposing an experimental scheme that replaces juries with a specific named trial judge who we feel inevitably be subjected to public scrutiny and thus pressure relative to his or her decision making, he said. That cannot be fair, that cannot be appropriate. Well, they're not interested in fair, they're interested in convictions.
Yeah.
It's going to make every Scottish court into a kangaroo court.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's not even to the level. It's a show trial. It's a Stalinist show trial.
Yes.
And this is why.
In fact, I think it's worse than a Stalinist show trial.
Yeah, it really is. Because at least that was for political gain. This is just for we need to bump the numbers up.
Yes, literally.
And this is that moment where, if this gets enacted without any resistance and I'm not just talking token resistance. This is the day that the Scottish courts are no longer courts.
Yeah, at that point, the rule of law has failed, the social contract has been broken, and the Scottish are they're bound by natural law to revolt.
Yeah. That's the only solution in cases like this, because when you don't have a judiciary that is in some ways shielded from public scrutiny in this way. Now, bad convictions are bad convictions and need to be called out.
Yes, it's almost as if that's why you have 12 randomly selected members of your community stand between you and the judiciary.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if that's the point of the system.
Funny that.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, but yeah, I'm really hung up on this is why, we Americans are very arrogant about our Constitution, and for damn good reason.
You should be.
Because
you should be. Just the first and the fourth are far more protection than any common law country has.
Yeah. And the fact that we have left that unmodified for over 200 years is a testament to, we saw the problems that were going with the English, common law system. We figured out the solutions to fix it, and then we left it the fuck alone because it protected people much better than what you see happening in Scotland.
Now, so, who's heard of The Spectator?
As in the magazine?
The shitty feminist drag, yes.
Yeah.
So, how badly do you need to fuck up the increasing rape convictions that the feminist drag The Spectator thinks you're an idiot?
I'm interested in
this should be
out.
Juicy.
Go on.
From the spectator.co.uk. Lawyers are right to boycott Humza Yousef's juryless rape trials, says Joanna Williams. And I'm just going to get up what she's written before. Where was Stella Creasy when other mums are being harassed? Labour's Lessons for Boys plan is a sinister sideshow. The truth about Britain's entitled strikers. How trans ideology took over our schools. Okay, so they're actually violently based. Well, that's not what I was hoping for, but I will take it. I was actually hoping that it'd be some regular run-of-the-mill feminist going, as much as I hate men, I do enjoy the rule of law. But no.
Well, Scotland is full of turfs, so it doesn't really surprise me.
But The Spectator is an agency that is regulated by the UK government, and they've published it. So even The Spectator must think that this article has something to it.
I'm surprised that Humza is not going, oh, she's white. This article's a race crime.
Yes. Tristan Armstrong says the Westminster Parliament slapped down the SNP when they tried to redefine gender. Would they not slap this down as well? At least while the Tories are in power. Dear God, I hope so. Otherwise, England's also fallen.
What makes you think England is still standing?
I mean,
well, it's propped up on the back of immigrants, apparently.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, guys, but the good old nations are all dead. Only half of America still stands.
Yeah. So much for the common law. So much for the social contract.
Well, if they want to if they want to break it, go ahead and break it. But when the consequences come around, don't start bitching and moaning. Yeah.
So this article by Joanna Williams starts, what is it with Humza Yousef? Scotland's first piece of shit has plenty on his plate. Police are investigating the SNP's financial affairs. Feminists are pushing back against his plans for gender recognition reform, and now lawyers are boycotting the pilot scheme for juryless rape trials that he's vocally championed. At some point, this stops being simple misfortune and instead suggests serious political miscalculation. No, he's just evil.
Yeah.
Don't muddy the waters. He's
There's no
just
way around it.
evil. So, criticism of the Scottish government's plans to try rape cases without a jury has been building. Now, with at least 7 legal bodies having voted to reject the proposed changes to court proceedings, a near unanimous boycott looks likely to render the pilot scheme unworkable. Good. From Bud Light to Maybelline makeup, calls for boycotts are two a penny nowadays, but this action by lawyers deserves public backing.
Well, funny enough, those boycotts have been very effective too.
Yes.
So let's keep this rolling.
We will actually come back to the Bud Light boycott once we go to Rumble, and we can laugh at them more freely.
Oh, thank God. We got some white pills on the way. Thank fuck.
And Earl's off to celebrate the Second Amendment by building a range.
Have a good one,
Yes,
Earl.
I'm so jealous. So, trial...
But what are you more jealous of, the range or the crayfish boil?
Range. We can have a crayfish boil here. We've got basically crayfish in Australia.
Norwegian
we have
crayfish
lobster.
are superior.
Well,
I mean,
I can literally walk for
no,
5
no.
minutes and get myself a lobster out of the water.
In Australia, I'm pretty sure what we've got actually is a crayfish, or close enough to. What is it called? A yabby or something?
Okay.
Okay.
all right, now I'm curious. Does it try to poison you when you eat it, or is it not really?
It's
It's
Australia,
like
it
the
always
only
tries
thing
to kill
that
you.
doesn't poison you when you eat it. That is the common yabby, an Australian crayfish.
Bigger those.
Yabber.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely crayfish
Yeah, that
or crawdad or.
Yep.
or basically wannabe lobster.
Mini lobster, yeah.
Yeah, freshwater typically.
No,
Yes.
that's got lobster claws out.
Yeah.
But it's close enough. No. I just wish I could build a range in the backyard.
I hear you.
Anyway,
I mean,
I'm looking forward to
I
the
can-
compound. We're gonna have a massive fucking range.
I
oh,
could
the
consider
compound.
using my neighbor's house as a backstop, but I don't think they'd like it.
The Sultan's compound's going to have a proper bloody rifle range, by which I mean the backstop's going to be 5 kilometers away. But when
Oh, the backstop is going to be somewhere over the rainbow.
Right. Wow, this has turned into a very.
I have so many things
Mulvaney stream.
I'd like to say about that I just can't on YouTube.
All I can say is I hope someone
Write it.
clips that from chat and then uses that as a video comment.
Yes. Hey,
Uh,
Benza, can you write what you wanted to say in the chat window? I want to hear it.
okay. I'm just typing this in.
Okay, Earl, you're going to have to explain what SF stands for there, because I don't think it's San Francisco.
There you go, Trim.
Oh, special. Okay, yeah, he's doing a special forces shoot house.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so it's
cool.
It's basically a training house.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Are you
Nice.
doing lights or you're gonna do it dark?
Special feces. Jesus.
Oh, he's gonna have to clear corners after he's flung poo.
Oh, dude.
So he's gonna build a monkey house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh man,
God.
I remember the last shoot house I did. That was fan-fucking-tastic. We did it with we did 2 runs, and one was they made us switch over to airsoft, so we actually had to go up against each other after doing like a couple runs live fire, and yeah, all I can say is I'm very happy I shot a guy in the ass with airsoft because he just walked right past me and I'm like, well, okay. Armbands are a thing.
Yeah. Right, so. Trial by jury has long been a hallmark of civilization and a key component of democratic society. Being found guilty of a crime and punished, potentially through imprisonment, is such a serious infringement on our rights that it demands the consent of fellow citizens. For this reason, all rape and attempted rape trials in Scotland are currently decided by a jury of 15 people. Yes, Scottish juries are shit to start with, but at least they have them for now. Yet, under proposals backed by that slimy sack of crap, people could be found guilty of rape on the word of a single judge. These reforms first proposed... Blah, 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 blah. Well, this is just stuff we've read through, so skipping. Back in 2013, legal scholar Helen Reese tackled the assumption that rape myths are widespread and erroneously influenced juries head on. Oh, someone's actually done research. In her superb paper, Rape Myths, Is Elite Opinion Right and Popular Opinion Wrong? She argued we are in the process of creating myths about myths. She explains that rape myths, or rape-supportive attitudes, are false beliefs such as that rape is a violent attack carried out by a stranger, that rape only happens outside of the home, or that flirtation or asking someone back for coffee implies consent and therefore rules out rape. Reese convincingly argues that whilst people believe that these myths exist, there's little evidence that they hold such views themselves. Oh, what's that? The Scottish government's lying. Who'd have thought? Who'd have...
Just a tip for the
Government
ladies
died,
out there, but if you want to
government
avoid
lied,
being
people
raped, you
died.
tell the guy no.
Here's a tip
Hey,
for the ladies
did
out
you-
there. If you want to avoid being raped, shoot the guy in the dick 6 times.
No, guys, remember what the Swedes
also an
did
option.
back in the day? They do that weird dance, you know?
What?
Hey, stop, don't touch me there. This is my nose
Oh,
there.
fuck off.
I was tormenting Stormy's children with that for a while.
As well, you should.
Yes. Hey,
That
Gregor
is a
Price off
song
that.
we sing a lot in the kitchen because it's fun
For who?
for us.
Bay
because of
State
the
says,
jokes we
not
make.
all rapes happen outside the home. Some happen in your imagination.
That's true.
Oh, yes.
You know, has any of you seen the game Pizza Tower?
No.
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 I've,
There's basically
I've eaten a pizza tower.
that's cool.
I've eaten a
There's
pizza.
Basically, at the end of the game, there's basically the final boss pulls out every single boss of the game to give you a boss rush, which ends up with the main character just screaming out, going ape shit, and just beating the shit out of everyone. That's basically what I want to do.
So, actually, Callum has a very important question for you, Trim. Were you twerking?
I weren't, but I do have a colleague who never fucking stops twerking. It's kind of annoying.
Have you
Were you
considered throwing them
dabbling?
overboard?
Oh.
I have considered it, I have offered it, but I was answered with, if you do, you have to take over desserts. And I said, fuck no, and said, okay, then no.
So they didn't want you daggering because they didn't want to do desserts.
I don't know what daggering is, and I don't want to know.
Google it.
Because the thing
Fucking
is,
Google it. Go
the thing
Google it
I
right
have
now.
figured out with you, Bleach, is when you ask me about a thing in that tone of voice, it is something that will scar me to the core of my being.
He's not
I'm
wrong.
welcome.
Yes, you are. Of course you are.
Okay, anyway. Back to this article. Indeed, it's precisely because rape is no longer considered to be a crime that occurs only in violent circumstances outside the home that many more rape cases come to court. And jurors have to engage in the difficult task of differentiating rape from sex that was wrongly perceived to be consensual. That's right, the jury needs to determine the facts. Was there consent? Was there mens rea? Did the person reasonably believe there was consent? Such as the woman going, fuck me! Oh, apparently a woman stripping naked and yelling, fuck me at the top of her voice isn't consent anymore.
No. Has it ever
Sadly,
been,
when
has
women
it-
do that,
has it
it's
ever
never the
been?
kind of woman you'd want to fuck. Thank you, Bleach.
Somebody had to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Let's see. As Reese argues, arriving at a judgment in such situations requires knowledge of human behavior and life experience, not necessarily legal expertise. One reason for low conviction rates in rape trials is that there are rarely witnesses or CCTV footage to provide proof. There's often one person's word against another. In such circumstances, a failure to prosecute might point to recognition of this ambiguity, not a reflection of sexist prejudices. In other words, juries are more sophisticated and less ignorant than Humza Yousef. Credits them.
Mm.
As well as taking the trauma of rape victims seriously, juries might also consider the harms of wrongful conviction. Trial by jury is an important safeguard against false imprisonment, yet the starting point for the Scottish Government's reforms is a desire to drive up the rate of convictions, not to get closer to the truth or justice. Yep.
Exactly.
Prime Knight asks, do we need signed and notarized papers now to establish consent? Well, consent can be withdrawn at any time. So not only do you need a signed and notarized contract in triplicate, you also need a lawyer and 2 witnesses plus at least 3 video cameras. At that point, you might as well start a fucking porn company.
All right, I have to ask this question. Who's familiar with the movie Cherry 2000?
Nope.
Oh yeah,
I think I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar.
Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith. But do you remember the bar scene in Cherry 2000?
No, I wouldn't say I do.
So
Oh, that's a movie poster.
Yeah. So it's I'll put it here in our internal. It's got dialogue and whatnot, so it's probably not something you want to play, but I'm gonna put it in chat as well because it's really worth. And this was 1988, I believe.
Actually, let me see if I can get up a transcript. Just trying. Oh, hey, Vice did a stupid fucking article.
What?
Oh, you mean as they burn out?
Oh god, yes. Oh, I'm reminded. Vice is dying. Ding dong, the bitch is dead. Oh, finally some good news.
Blah, 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 blah. Poorly written crap. No wonder Vice is dead.
Actually, you know what?
Would be nice to freaking... Oh,
And this might be something where I'm gonna have to see if there's some actual subtitles available.
right, here we go. So we've got a really weird, a really 90s website. Well, 2006 apparently. So
Nostalgia.
Cherry 2000 is about a guy named Sam Treadwell who gets too hot and heavy with his perfect Android wife. Not an Android wife, that's something different. While wallowing in soap suds. Unfortunately, Cherry 2000 doesn't take water well and gets fried. After trying his hand at Pokemon dating, Sam decides he needs a new body for his cherry chip.
So the thing is, and this is going about the whole movie, but the dating scene, and that's what I popped in.
Yeah,
is there's a scene with Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
As a lawyer negotiating between this couple for a one night stand.
Yep. So the only person who can actually act in the movie.
So it's in a way it's just like Demolition Man. It's surprisingly prescient.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by about 10 years.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What's really ironic is that when I was first starting university, they were actually offering to print you a consent contract,
which is again is useless because consent can be withdrawn at any time. So you really do need a lawyer, 2 witnesses, and a bloody film crew.
Yep.
And then they'll turn around and go, "Oh, I was intimidated. There were too many people in the room."
Yep. I have to perform because it's like, no, you don't.
Go fuck yourself. Here, here's a suggestion.
Probably the safer option at this point, Trim, going to fuck yourself.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I might withdraw consent for myself.
Yeah, you might
Last
have to.
night I threw my hand down on the bed and I made sweet, sweet love to it. And I woke up this morning and charged me.
So I've got a little bit of the transcript here for that scene. So
Transcript, huh?
yeah. So
Do you have a link?
I drew that out a little bit.
and it's like standard arrangement for a one-night contract, complete sexual encounter with full penetration optional.
Optional.
And one optional episode in the morning, and then the woman's like, no, slow down, I don't think I'm going to stay the night. My lawyer's got to read this over because there's an oil clause.
Oil clause.
So it's a good scene worth watching, but it's like it's that level that we almost need to have in Scotland, because without a jury trial, it's all going to hell fast.
Yep. Ah, dear. If you enjoyed this segment from the Sons of Chardonnay podcast, please consider joining us live exclusively on rumble.com/c/Sons of Chardonnay. A special thanks to our subscribe star supporters who you can currently see scrolling past on your screen.